The challenge facing companies today is how do we become more externally oriented, how do we step change to get ready for the future, and how do we become proactive in terms of setting our agenda to stay ahead. And that's where purpose comes into play. If we look where most growth happens today, it doesn't come from competing in existing mature industries. It comes from creating markets. Purpose is about creating markets and opportunity based on where we can have an impact. So it really has to do with using purpose to focus on, one, redefining our playing field to drive growth. Two, focusing on our value proposition around relationships, not transactions. And three, it comes from motivating and empowering not just our employees inside, but our stakeholders outside. That's where we get the power of purpose. Let's take the case of Mars PETCARE. Traditionally, they're one of the largest pet food companies in the world, but they have much more belief beyond pet food. They have a belief in pet ownership and pet care. They talk about the benefits of pet to society. They built their strategy not around food, but how do I make ownership of pets aspirational, convenient, so that we can grow pet ownership? How do I build that as the core of my strategy? Mars could have just focused on selling more dog food, but for them, pets are important to society. And making the world better for pets is their purpose. So they move from focusing on selling dog food to actually making pet ownership aspirational and convenient for the world. And by doing that, they're growing. For Mahindra, as a group, they have a purpose that they call Rise, which is how do we help our individuals and communities rise? Now, behind that purpose, they have three tenets that they expect all of their businesses and their individuals to live by as they're doing their daily operations, as they're making decisions. Those tenets are, first of all, to think alternatively. Not just to keep doing the same thing, but think alternatively. The second tenet is basically to accept no limits. How do we get people not to be limited by what we're doing today, but think about what can be done? And the third has to do with driving positive change. So if we can translate purpose into something that actually shapes how people behave, how they make decisions around the world, that's where we can multiply also the power of purpose. The power of purpose comes not just from making people feel good or not just words on a wall. The power of purpose is when it shapes the actions and decisions of the leaders and the behaviors of the organization over time. It comes from new ways of defining what is our value proposition and new ways that we can align, motivate, and empower and engage our stakeholders inside and outside of the organization. That's where we see the true power of purpose.